Course 1, great and fun geometry lesson today. Lesson 97 is about what we call a transversal. Trans means across. We're cutting across parallel lines. What do you remember about parallel lines? Do not intersect. Always the same distance apart. Not like these, but like lines M and N here. No matter how far down the line I go, these are never going to intersect. They're always going to stay the same distance. And with parallel lines, we can intersect, cut through them. With a transversal, that doesn't have to be perpendicular or parallel or precisely relation to anything. It's just cutting across at, well, we don't really know yet what angle here. It's just cutting across like so. And we create 8 angles when we cut this way. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 angles. With that one cut on 2 lines. Exterior means outside. Interior means inside. So angles 4 through 6 here are considered interior angles. And then outside the parallel lines, we have 1, 2, 7, and 8 as exterior angles. Okay? Just had a lot of concepts and terms thrown at you already. Feel free to go back and watch that part again. Now, let's talk a little bit about these angles and the properties that we can count on. Angle 1 here, keep referencing this picture. Angle 1 is an obtuse angle, while acute angle 2 together will make a straight line. We've got angle 1, when combined with angle 2, is a straight line 180 degrees. We call that a supplementary angle. Supplementary angles are 2 angles when added together equal 180 degrees always. So if I say something like angle 1 is 110 degrees and is supplementary to angle 2, you can tell me right now angle 2 is 70 degrees because together it has to be that 180 because 180 degrees is a straight line. Just check it out in your protractor. It says like 0, and then if you go all the way around, this is 180 for the straight line. There are names to describe angle pairs. For example, we say that 1 and 5 here are corresponding angles to each other with this transversal because they are in the same relative positions. 1 is going to look kind of like 5. Because of these being parallel lines, the transversal creates 2 very similar angles we call corresponding angles, like 1 and 5. The upper left angle 1 is formed from line M. 5 is formed from line N. So they aren't the same angle, but they correspond. Which angle corresponds to angle 2, it asks. Which one looks like this one? Well, like we followed the pattern down this way with 1 and 5, let's follow the pattern down here. Does 6 remind you of the way 2 looks here? They're both acute supplementary angles. And they are not formed by the exact same line, but they have a lot of the same conditions. Relative position is the same. And which angle corresponds to 7? That would be angle 3. One is interior, one is exterior, but they still correspond. Since lines M and N are parallel, line P intersects line M at the same angles as it intersects line N. So the corresponding angles are congruent, saying they measure the same if they do correspond. The angles between the parallel lines, the 3, 4, 5, and 6, the interior angles, angles 3 and 5 are on opposite sides of the transversal. 3 and 5 are called alternate interior. They're both on the interior, but they're on alternate sides of the transversal. So they're alternate interior angles. They're congruent if intersected into parallel lines as a transversal. So angle 5, if it's 110, angle 3 is the same. You can kind of tell if I flipped this over and upside down, it would look the same as 3. So angles 3 and 5 match up. I'm telling you right now, 6 and 4 are going to match up also. But first, angle 1 and 7 are called alternate exterior angles. 1 is an exterior angle. 7 is also exterior. And since we're flipping them as alternates, they will be equal. Whereas if you pick ones from exterior that are on the same side, those are actually going to be supplementary. As you can see, this is acute and this is obtuse. So it's actually alternate exterior angles that'll be the same. While we practice the terms for describing angle pairs, it's useful to remember, you can read this with me if you'd like, when a transversal intersects parallel lines, all acute angles formed are equal in measure, and all obtuse angles are also equal in measure. Thus, any acute angle formed will be supplementary to any obtuse angle. And again, supplementary again, remember, means will add up with the other angle to 180 degrees or a straight line. Transversal W intersects parallel lines X and Y. Name the pairs of corresponding angles. Angles A and angle E correspond. B and F. Angles C and G. And angles D and H. You should have all of them covered correctly in their corresponding pairs. Now name the pairs of alternate interior angles. Remember, interior, so they have to both be inside and congruent. F and D are on alternate sides, but are also both interior. Angles C and E the same. Letter C says name the pairs of alternate exterior. Exterior is out here, right? Those would be angle A and angle G, as well as angle B and angle H. If the measure of angle A is 115 degrees, then what are the measures of angle E and angle F? If A is 115, what are E and F? E, we said, corresponds with A, so they are congruent. They are the same. You can tell when you look at them, they look the same. So E is going to also be 115, and E is supplementary to F, so we take 180 minus E to find F. That answer is 65 degrees. You can do A through E.